Hello, everyone. Welcome to Southern Section this week. I'm Connor Morissette.
And I'm Claudette Montana-Pattison, and today we are at Notre Dame High School in Sherman Oaks, California, where later Connor will interview our Student Athlete of the Week.
I'm so excited to have everyone check out that discussion. But first, let's fill you in on exactly what Southern Section this week is all about. It's a weekly show where we'll bring you the best of everything the Southern Section has to offer.
And we will bring you in-depth conversations with players and coaches spanning all sports to keep you updated on the latest news across Southern Section athletics.
We're here at Notre Dame's football practice. Football season kicks off in a few weeks. Let's start the show by highlighting 5 players who won CIF championships a year ago that we're so excited to watch this fall. How does that sound, Claudette?
Sounds good to me. Let's do it.
From the defending Division I champion Mater Dei Monarchs, quarterback Elijah Brown will be a junior this fall. In his sophomore season, Brown completed 74% of his throws for over 2,500 yards, 30 touchdowns, and just 6 picks. He ended the season with a rating of 140.3. He'll certainly be one of the top QBs in the section this year.
And I don't know about you, Connor, but I can't wait to see what type of magic Roderick Pleasance has up his sleeve following last season's Division III title at Serra, Gardena. In the offseason, Pleasant ran the fastest 100-meter time in state history in 10.14 seconds. He plays corner, but he is also fantastic in the return game. He is a player that should be on everybody's radar.
Last season, Long Beach Poly running back Devin helped lead the Jackrabbits to the Division IV Southern Section Championship. Don't let his size fool you. At 5'7", he can duck under tacklers, and he has a lot of power. Samples will definitely be one of the top running backs in the section this season.
And as a freshman, Aquinas running back Solis rushed for over 2,000 yards and 35 touchdowns to help lead the Falcons to a Division VII Southern Section Championship. In the title game against PMA, he rushed for 284 yards and 5 touchdowns. What will his sophomore year look like?
That's a great question, Claudette. I am not sure, but if it's better than this, watch out.
Well, and finally, Rialto won the Division 14 crown last season behind junior running back Antoine Fowler. In the Knights' 56-38 championship win over Indian Springs, Fowler rushed for 241 yards and 2 touchdowns. In total, he ended the 2021 season with over 1,700 yards and 22 touchdowns. Now, there are some players to watch on the gridiron, but who are some athletes to pay attention to this cross-country season? Earlier, Connor had the chance to catch up with Prep Cal Track editor Rich Gonzalez to preview the 2022 cross-country season. Take it away, Connor.
Thanks so much, Claudette. Rich, it's great to be here with you. How are you doing today?
Doing pretty well, getting ready for cross-country season. Excited.
That's amazing. The big cross-country news of the last few days, Rich, Newbury Park coach Sean Brosnan, 2-time National High School Coach of the Year, hired as an assistant at UCLA. What does that mean for the Newbury Park program that's been so dominant the last few years?
I think you're still going to see them be the team to beat, not only in California, but nationally. On paper, they still have by far the most talent. There's some good teams across the country, but they're in great shape. The coaches taking over for them have both been involved in the program in recent years. They have good experience, a good philosophy, good grasp of training. They are still going to be very, very tough to beat. Arguably, this is still, this matches up pretty well with the teams of the last 2 years. 2019, they won the national title. 2020 and 2021, they were far, far better, but there was no real national championship. There was one meet in 2021 on a flat course, which doesn't always separate teams, but they were unbeatable. And this team is loaded. They have downside. And that's because I think they're not quite as consistent at every single scoring position. So there's downside, but as far as on talent on paper, they are damn good.
Is it all about Lex and Leo Young again at the top?
Not really, not really. I mean, those two are phenomenal, but cross country, the real key to your team success are your 4 or 5 guys. The 4 or 5 are the ones, if you don't have good 4 or 5 guys in the team scoring, those 2 are the ones that balloon your team score and open the door for other teams. Don't get me wrong. The young twins, they set the table, but quite easily, if you don't have a solid 4 and 5, that opens the door for elite level teams to beat you. Fortunately for them, they're good at 4 and 5. They just need to make sure they're consistent. You know, the teams of Newbury Park past were always very consistent. And that's a credit in a sense to Sean, their previous coach. Sean was very, very good at always having his teams ready, motivated, and focused.
Who are the new Newbury Park coaches now?
So it's Steve Hawkins, who's been involved with Sean in the program, and Tanya Brosnan, who's actually Sean's wife. And, Tanya, former All-American in college, and Steve, he's got a big background in physiology. They're in fine shape. Do I think that no matter what, it doesn't matter who they hire, whoever it was, it would have been a step down. That's not a knock on anybody. That's just how good Sean was. He's phenomenal. So anybody else, they're going to lose maybe a little bit because he had it wired down. But they have so much talent. They have good coaches. They're still the team to beat.
One last question about Sean. How rare is it to see a big-time high school coach get plucked to coach in the college ranks? Does that happen often? Does that happen every now and then? How rare was this move?
It's very rare. It's very rare. And it's something that, teams have inquired about Sean for years now. But it's always something that was never quite serious. Sean had mentioned just recently that when this first came about, he thought it was just it's not going to lead to anything. He eventually had a sit down, an 8-hour meeting with Avery Anderson, the director of track and field and cross country. And that's when he knew, oh my, they're serious. And then when he talked money, he was impressed by that also. But this does not happen. But again, I've seen a lot of great coaches over the years, but to be a great coach, you have to have the training down, the motivation down, the planning down, everything down. He's the only coach that I've seen that gets top flight ratings in every category. And there's some phenomenal ones. One that comes to mind right away, Walt Lang at Jesuit. But, Sean, I've seen coaches develop great depth, which is great for teams. I've seen coaches develop great individuals, great for elites. Sean was the one that continually excelled in both categories. And that's unprecedented to continually do it.
On the girls' side, who are some top teams that we need to watch from the Southern section? And then in terms of individuals, is Sadie Engelhart, even though she'll only be a sophomore, is she at the top of that list in terms of individuals? Who else is there? Fill me in on top teams and players to watch or runners to watch on the girls' side.
Yeah, well, first off, as far as team-wise for the girls, it's always a little bit more shaky than the boys. And the reason being, and that's just the way the sport is on the girls' side. As girls develop, sometimes teams are not quite what you thought they were going to be, very different than with the boys program. So there's always question marks until the season actually hits. Who should be strong this year? And so in the Southland Southern section, one of them, once again, a perennial power, Great Oak. They should be strong again. They've lost some people. They've got a great coaching staff. They have a great new culture with the new coach that came on last year. I think some people discounted them early on, and that was a big mistake, and they're showing that. Serra has been a new power in recent years on the girls' side. They've had some great talent. One of their neighbors, Dana Hill, should be very strong this year as well. There were some rumors out there recently that some of the top Dana Hills girls were going to be transferring over to Serra. I talked with the Serra coach the other day, and that's not the case. But Serra has some excellent individuals. They could be a very good force nationally.
How about individually? Who are some of the top cross-country runners in the Southern section?
It basically starts and ends with Sadie Engelhart. She is really phenomenal. I've seen one girl like this in the past in California over the years where she was just incredible coming in. Jordan Hasse over from Mission College Prep now runs professionally. This is an individual that, just like with the teams, the girls, sometimes the phenoms in age group don't quite pan out all the way to senior year in high school for various reasons. Again, much more so than boys. And I kind of was a bit skeptical. Not that I didn't have any faith in Sadie. It's just that, okay, there's a lot of pressure on these kids coming in, more so girls that are elite. So let's see how she copes. And she's exceeded what I thought she would do. First off, she's a phenomenal athlete, phenomenal. You think cross country, you think these wiry little girls that, just thin and so forth. This girl is strong. She's an athlete and she loves to compete. She's very durable. She's in strong coaching hands. It's just a great situation. I mean, she really, some people thought, okay, well, but she had a couple of losses last year in cross country. Cross country is a different beast, and you look at who she lost to, and it was someone like Dahlia Frias at Miracosta, who ended up setting the national 3,200 record. So the few times she had a setback, it was against really, really good people. But yeah, she's phenomenal. I'm stunned. I'm very, very anxious to see her keep it going in high school and see if she can continue taking down these new challenges, these barriers.
Rich, thank you so much for joining us. Let's throw it over to Claudette, who's speaking with Redondo Union girls volleyball coach Tommy Chaffins for this week's Coach's Corner segment.
Thanks, Connor and Tommy. It is so great to be with you. Thank you so much for joining us. We are getting back to school here. That means volleyball season is right around the corner. What excites you the most about this season?
I think that it's for at least for my team that we return a lot of players. We have 11 returners, and we have a great blend of new additions as well. We've only had 1 week of practice, and they have been phenomenal. And I sincerely feel we are 18 deep. I mean, we actually have 20 players, but not everyone has been healthy thus far. And we've just we've had phenomenal practices, and we can't wait for the season.
Well, you said you have a lot of players returning. Anyone that we should be keeping our eyes on that should be on our radar?
Hopefully many, but Melee Coral Blagovic is definitely our kind of go-to girl. She was she led us in kills when we won CIF as a freshman in 2018 in Division I. I've yet to see anybody do that, and I've been doing this for a little while, lead the team in kills while winning the CIF-SOUTHERN Section Division I title. And so she's back for her senior year. And so she's, you know, we have a lot of great players, but she's definitely not only is she our best player, she's a phenomenal captain as well.
Well, I know that you mentioned you also have some fresh faces on your team. Is there someone that you kind of have eyes on that you think might really just explode this season and have a really exciting year?
There are, you know, I'll throw out quite a few, just a few names, just because of the new players. I mean, the Zimmerman sisters, are both playing. Ella has been a very accomplished 6'4" basketball player, but she's playing volleyball for the first time, and she made some pretty neat plays in Oxnard. And her sister Abby Zimmerman was also in our starting lineup, at least early on in Oxnard. So those two kind of come to mind. Their mom was a longtime Maricosta coach and former great player in the AVP and Maricosta great. So it'll be neat to see their parents wearing red and white.
I know that you briefly mentioned your guys' schedule, you know, before we start going here, and you have a very competitive schedule this year. You mentioned Mater Dei, who they were really good back in the day when I played volleyball. So I'm sure they're still great. And I know you've got a lot of tough opponents kind of in the pipeline here. What's your approach for this season? Like, how do you prepare for a season when your schedule is this challenging?
Well, I try to make, what would I want if I was a good player? And I think good players want to play the best. So we try to schedule everybody. Mm-hmm. I don't know if anybody else has a schedule that includes Torrey Pines, which is typically the top team down in San Diego, along with we're traveling to Sierra Canyon, we're traveling to Marymount, Mater Dei. We want them. I like volleyball because typically the best teams like to play each other, and we're very open to playing one another. So we like that.
Last question for you before we wrap things up. Obviously, every single team will set some goals, big goals, small goals, daily goals before season kicks off. What is your biggest goal for this season?
My kids have a lot of fun. I know we have high, lofty goals. Like I said, I sincerely feel we have a 20-person roster. I wouldn't be surprised if I look back in 3 or 4 years that all 20 play Division I, Division II volleyball. Maddie Collins just signed with UC Santa Barbara, or verbally committed. Gianna Tagoe committed to Florida International, and we have a lot of great beach players, or they'll play beach players indoors. But I just really want them to have a lot of fun and enjoy the process of competing against each other, and then they have to support whoever Coach Tiffany and I throw out there. And I sincerely believe it already in the first week, like they've already all bought in. It's kind of handed down from, this is my 22nd year that this is the way our formula works. And Melee is a phenomenal leader and gives and provides. So it's just not me saying it, like Melee will go, hey, this is the way it works here. And then it's passed on. So I'm kind of blessed. I've had some phenomenal captains. So lots of fun.
Lots of fun. Lots of fun. I love it. And hopefully another CIF championship in your future here. Maybe this season, you never know.
Yeah, I feel like this year, one final comment is it's really open. I mean, the top 8, a lot of times I think at least in girls volleyball, like you can kind of almost cement, okay, this team's in the final and they're probably going to play one of these 2-3 teams. I've talked to just a couple of people. We feel like it's much more wide open. I believe they are going to they're going to the basketball model of top 8 are going to be in 2 pools of, so the playoffs should be super exciting because it's the first time girls volleyball, to my understanding, is going to be doing this. They're going to have pool play. And so, I think Bay League is going to be the strongest league, and theoretically, there could literally be a pool with Maricosta, PV, and Redondo and another team, and we have to do a pool play and the 2 pool winners play each other. So I think that the playoffs are going to be unbelievable because of the new format.
Now that sounds very exciting. Everybody be sure to go check out Redondo volleyball this season. It's going to be excited. I'm excited just hearing about it right now. I'm sure you're excited to get things.
We have a DJ. We got, announcers. We try to do it up if you come to the Seahawk Pavilion.
Yep. I'm sure there's snacks too, and everybody likes snacks.
Everything. We got it all.
So, Tommy, thank you so much. We
Thank you.
appreciate you taking the time. And now we will send it back to Connor at Notre Dame.
Thanks so much, Claudette. We're back here at Notre Dame, and I'm with our student athlete of the week, Notre Dame quarterback Wyatt Becker. Wyatt, thank you so much for being with me today. How tough is it to balance academics with football? You're so serious about both.
It's pretty hard. I'd say the biggest thing that goes into it is time management. You have 6 classes, honors, APs, and you're as the quarterback, I have to balance, I'm the leader of the team, so I have to know everyone's job and responsibility at all times, both on the offense and the defense. So, I'd say time management, just knowing when to do what, knowing when to do school, and knowing when to focus on the game helps a lot.
How excited are you for this season? Big year for Notre Dame.
Yeah, I'm really excited. We've really started. We've been working all off season, and all fall camp is just starting. So, all our boys are working really hard, and I think this year is going to be a breakout year for us. So I'm really excited.
As a sophomore, taking on a bigger leadership role might be a challenge as an underclassman. What have you been working on leadership-wise to try to get the trust of your teammates and to go full go ahead this season?
I think that, being a vocal leader goes into it, but I feel like it's more being a role model. Like, you want to be the first guy in, last guy out. I've been working hard in the weight room. I'm usually the first guy out here, last to leave. I often text my guys to get extra work, so I feel like leading by example is the best way to do it. You can be a vocal leader. Like, I'll get everybody hyped up, but like, I feel like the most important thing that goes into it is to lead by example. And so I feel like I've been doing that a lot more this year, and I feel like that's how I'm stepping into this leadership role.
You're up to double-digit scholarship offers. Fill our viewers in on what your game looks like and how you play as a quarterback.
I'd say I can command the game. I have a high football IQ. I know where to go with the ball. I'm on time with the ball. But at the same time, I feel like I'm athletic enough to make plays down the field. I can get out of the pocket and, make explosive plays when things aren't totally on time. So,
speaking with one of your assistant coaches, he mentioned that you're not just a great passer, but you're also good at running around.
Yeah.
How tough is it, though, to balance the injury risk with running? I saw you take off a few times at practice today. You look great, but it's a challenge because you don't want to get hurt.
Yeah, you always don't want to get hurt, but usually I try to go for the first down, and then you can get out of bounds or slide or something. But, running is fun, but when you're playing full time, you can't do it like all the time. So, only when needed, I'll take off from the rock. But yeah.
What have you been working on this offseason that you're excited to showcase when the year begins in a few weeks?
I feel like my timing with the receivers and my mental side of the game has improved a lot. So I feel like my completion percentage will be really high this year. Also, I've been working on explosive movements and getting out of the pocket and be able to throw on the move. So when things aren't totally on time and I need to make a move and escape and make a play, I feel like I'll be in a good position to do that.
Fill us in on some of your teammates who you think will have a big year this year, guys you're excited to work with, what positions they play, and your relationship with those guys.
Receivers, we have a great O-line this year. I'll start with them because they're probably the most important position for me. But outside of that, I'd say we just got a transfer receiver from Campbell Hall, Keon Salehi. He's going to have a super good breakout year. You know, we have our slot returning from last year, Makai Brede Brown. So I feel like those two guys will have a lot of my catches this year, which will be awesome.
What's it like working with Joe McNabb, a guy who's been around for so long and does such an excellent job as head coach?
You know, he does a really good job of organizing everything and getting everybody, you know, he's been around like at this school for a long time, so he knows how it's supposed to work, and he can get everybody organized and ready to go. Like, he has it down, like he's been here for a while.
What are your goals for this season?
You know, I want to win games, so I'm going to do everything I can, and I'm going to get my team in the best position to win. That's my main goal. I just want to win games.
Wyatt, thanks so much for joining me.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks so much for tuning in. Claudette, I don't know about you, but I had so much fun this week.
So did I, Connor, and we can't wait to see all of you next week.